couldn't be with us in person, so he gave us a clip to play. And it's going to start your year off in the right direction. It's really important to him that you start your year off right, and he wants you to understand the importance of proper hydration and how Kangen water can enhance your life. Then after that, we're going to hear from several of our team members. So while I'm preparing for the clip, Stu, would you just take 2 minutes and lay the foundation out for us on why Kangen water can help us support our bodies and how we can maintain our health by using it? Stu, would you go ahead and do that for me?
Yes, Jan, happy to. And I want to say hi to everybody. My name is Stu Sweeney. I'm a certified natural health professional from Laguna Beach, California. I've had the great pleasure of learning about this water a little over 10 years ago and have been sharing it with thousands of people all over the country ever since. So those of you that are new to the call, this is my favorite call because you're going to hear from people all over the country that are going to tell you in their own words how this water's changed their life for the better with health issues that they had. And I just want to give you a little background on it because when you hear how it's helped people with various conditions from cancer to arthritis to multiple sclerosis to diabetes, and it's easy for you to say, well, wait a minute, how can something as simple as water be this effective or this beneficial to so many people with so many different conditions? And here's what it all boils down to. Our bodies are designed to self-heal. There is nothing that's incurable. In spite of what you hear, there is no disease that can't be improved or cured because the body's designed to self-heal. But the body isn't able to heal itself when it's toxic, when it's acidic, and when it's dehydrated. And unfortunately, we're all going through life toxic, acidic, and dehydrated without being aware of it. And this incredible water has special properties, and it actually hydrates you better than any liquid in the world. It detoxifies you better than anything in the world. And it alkalizes the body. So this unleashes the body's innate ability to self-heal. The body's designed to self-heal. It knows how to do it on a cellular level. It can't use its incredible powers of self-healing when it's acidic, toxic, and dehydrated. But when it's alkaline and well-hydrated and detoxified, this unleashes the balance or the homeostasis necessary for the body to heal itself. So the name of the disease simply doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what name you call it or how long you've had it. If you get your body back into this balance where it's deeply hydrated, where it's alkaline, and where it can detoxify and clean out on a cellular level, the body will then start producing new healthy cells, which will start to restore your health. So that's the bottom line. So when you hear all these various conditions, don't be surprised about it because the body can heal itself of anything when it's in this incredible balance. I'm going to pause now because I think Jan's going to be bringing Dr. Barry's clip on any second. Sorry, it's taking a little bit longer than I thought, so I'll just expound a little bit more. The water has incredible properties. It hydrates your body deeply. It alkalizes your body. It detoxifies your body. It's also an incredibly powerful antioxidant.
Okay, Stu, I am ready.
Okay, Jen. Thank you, everybody.
Okay, folks, we're ready to begin. And you are in for a treat tonight. This is the All Testimony Call. We are meeting on the phone tonight to celebrate the victories and to share some testimonies with you tonight of what can be accomplished when we correctly hydrate our body, take in good nutrition, and make health a priority. All of you on the line, I know want to stay healthy, and we want to enjoy our family and our life. I'm going to dive right into the call right now because we have Dr. Barry Awe from South Carolina here to encourage us tonight, and he wants to make sure that he can start your year off right. So, Dr. Barry, I'd like to have you come out. He is actually a chiropractor. He's taught thousands of people how to enhance their life with Kangen water. And Dr. Barry, I'd like you to come out, give us a quick disclaimer, and share your testimony with us tonight, would you?
Be happy to. Thanks a lot, Jan. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Very quickly, we're going to be talking about results that have come from making a change in one of the most critical factors of our life, which is our water. And you'll hear as you talk with people, and the more you delve into people changing from regular water to Kangen ionized water, you'll hear amazing things. And what we want to do is clarify that this water does not treat or mitigate or cure disease. This water is the perfect kind of water for your body so that your body can repair itself. So we want to be clear on that. We don't want people running around and mistakenly saying that this water cures things. That's not correct, and it's misleading. And what we want to do is have a proper understanding so that people can learn and also be able to share this without confusing people. So with that said, I'm going to tell you very quickly why you can expect amazing results when you change your water. So number one, if you have a pen and paper, I'd like you to draw a little diagram. Start out with a circle and cut that circle into 3/4 or draw a line in it from the top to the center and then off to about 3 o'clock. And then that other whole section, that should be 75% of that circle, you can write into that circle H2O. And with the remaining portion, with that remaining 25%, if you cut that in about, let's just say 2/3. So draw the line so that it cuts one section about 2/3 and one section 1/3. Okay, into that bigger section of what's left, I want you to write oils / fats. And then into the smallest section, you might need to draw a line off from the side. From the line, from that smallest section, you're going to write everything else. So you just diagrammed the constitution of the human body. The human body, and many of you have heard this, but maybe have not visually seen this, that the human body, the optimal human healthy body, should be 75% water. It's hard to imagine when you're looking at somebody and when you're feeling your own body or look in the mirror to imagine that it's 75% water. But this is an absolute fact, and I'll explain something that'll help you visualize this. The next portion is oils and fats. That is raw, healthy oils and fats. The human body is made out of raw, healthy oils and fats. And then everything else is your proteins, your carbs, your vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, all the things that people go crazy running all over the place trying to make sure they're getting enough of is really only that small percent. And here's the visual. When a human being dies and they are cremated, what is burned off is the water and the fat. What's left is a small pile of ashes. So the average 200-pound man is reduced to about 10 pounds of ash. Now, within that ash, the nutrients that make you are critical. They really are. And there's 300 human nutrients. And my recommendation is to get many kinds of complex superfoods so that you get some of all 300 nutrients. That's another call. What we want to focus on is what's most important is that 75%. So you can imagine if you found the perfect water, the perfect H2O, you could understand why it would make such a difference in people's health. Right? So what we need to have perfect health, we need a source of energy. We need to be optimally hydrated to that 75%. If you're 70% hydrated, you're going to be pretty healthy. If you're 65, you're having a lot of problems. If you're 60, 55, even 50% hydrated, which some people are walking around that way, you have hundreds of symptoms. You have all sorts of conditions. And if we examined every portion of your physiology, we would find something wrong. So when you understand this, then you understand what is the number one goal that I could change my life this year, and what is the easiest thing that I could do that everybody can do. I can put in a better kind of H2O. So with Kangen water, people get kind of caught up on the alkaline acid thing, and it's really important. But honestly, here's the best way to describe Kangen water. All other kind of water has chemicals in it. All other kinds of water that is standing and stagnant, sitting in pipes, sitting in bottles, that water is dead water. There's no energy. When you run that kind of water through a Kangen machine, and there's a strong electric charge that splits that water molecule in half, number one, it's the only way to get out all of the chemicals, the pesticides and petroleum products, the pharmaceutical drugs. Do you know that pharmaceutical drugs rain down in rainwater? That all lakes and rivers and streams are loaded with pharmaceutical drugs? That the deepest well waters in America are loaded with pharmaceutical drugs? Because it has leaked through the ground, the soil, the water table, and into the deepest wells we've ever drilled. But when you electrocute water, you can actually pull out just the H2O. The side effect is, since it's so pure, it's highly alkaline. The other side effect is it's highly energetic. So now we have pure, perfect H2O the way God intended, the way God made us. And that's why people have so many results. It's not that this water cures us. It's that we restored what our body is supposed to be made out of. So here's my testimony. When I got this water, I already knew a ton about health. I've been on this water about almost 10 years. And I was already a doctor, very successful. It helped people beat cancer, including my wife. But we did it the hard way because we were doing it on the wrong water. We were juicing tons of dark green vegetables, trying to get alkaline green liquid into our body. And it was incredibly difficult and a painstaking process. Whereas if we would have had this water, we would have been able to beat these conditions in a tenth of the time. So for myself, the main thing I was battling, even though I knew all these things about health and nutrition and cleansing, is I had intestinal dysbiosis. Intestinal dysbiosis is an upset of the normal ecosystem in the gut, or the bugs, so to speak. There's good bacteria and bad bacteria, good yeast and bad yeast. There's even good parasites, believe it or not, and we know there's bad parasites, and fungus, and virus. So in your body, there should be a delicate balance of the good kinds of microorganisms. These exist in a properly hydrated, proper pH, alkaline pH of 7.4000, and a source of energy with a good supply of oxygen. Now, oxygen will naturally exist in energetic, alkaline, clean water. Oxygen is flushed out or deprived of toxic water. So that is why we get a better supply of alkalinity, is because of, number one, that pure water, but also we get that extra oxygen, which raises the pH. So when I was on my nutrition path, if I fasted on greens, I could get my system pretty clean. But if I ate anything, I would instantly be back with my yeast and my bacteria and parasites and all this other stuff, which led to bloating, indigestion, acid reflux, wheezing and coughing, allergies. I always had sinus stuff and mucus, clogged sinuses, drippy nose, itchy eyes, itchy skin. I had incredible energy issues. I was always tired. I was always trying to jack myself up with caffeine. I was always trying to do something to get energy. Sound familiar to anybody or everybody? Chances are, if you are not drinking Kangen water, you have rampant dysbiosis in your intestine. And then even if you are drinking Kangen water, if you're not drinking very much, you probably have rampant intestinal dysbiosis. And the symptoms are much more far-reaching than even what I listed. When I started on the Kangen water, I instantly noticed differences in all of those conditions. First thing, my energy went up. Now, if you understand your body is a hydroelectric machine and you put in pure, perfect water, you understand why you have more energy. If you understand that when Kangen water is created, when that electricity splits through the H2O molecule and splits off those chemicals, anytime you split a covalent bond of a molecule, energy is created. So the water comes out carrying a high level of energy. Well, if you drink energetic, pure, clean water with oxygen, you are going to get energy. Some people drink Kangen water and they say, well, I didn't notice much energy change. Most people are not drinking nearly enough. If you understand you're 75% water, take your weight, divide it by 75%, or take 75% of your weight, however you want to say it. That's how much you are in water. Now, a gallon of water is about 8 pounds. So, for example, a 160-pound person would be 120 pounds of water. That's 15 gallons of water. And it should be H2O at a pH of 7.4. It should carry oxygen, and it should be highly energetic. Water we're drinking is similar to if you would go out to a standing puddle somewhere out on the road after a rainstorm and drinking that. It's very similar. Or go to a pond. Go to somebody's swimming pool. You know, go to somebody's toilet. You know, people think that because water looks pretty clear, it's all pretty much the same. But would you drink out of somebody's toilet? Even would you drink out of the back of somebody's toilet? No, of course not. I mean, it's disgusting. But if we filled up 2 glasses, I challenge somebody to be able to tell the difference by sight. Sometimes you have to listen to what other people know. And there's people around the world trying to teach about this water. And believe it or not, there's still people that just don't believe it, that don't listen. So, besides my intestinal dysbiosis being wiped out because I was finally at the proper pH and all the bugs ran away and the good guys started to thrive, I noticed difference in my joints. I had knee pain for most of my life, and when I was properly hydrated, no more knee pain. I had back pain that went away. I chronically had a lot of head pressure and sometimes really bad headaches. After I got on Kangen water and my system was hydrated, no more headaches. My skin improved, my eyes improved, my overall sense of well-being improved, and everything in my body. So when you truly understand Kangen water, you should have just about 100 things that you could say that the water has helped, because it will help everything. Now, a lot of times people have like a miracle story or a couple of miracle stories. But if you really look closely, every single person that drinks this water should notice an increase of energy. Every single one. Every single one should notice detoxification, that they have to go to the bathroom more, that more stuff comes out of their sweat and more stuff comes, they expectorate more phlegm and stuff comes out of their skin and more gunk comes out of their ears and eyes and nose when they, you know, after they've been asleep and they wake up. That's the amazing thing. You put this water in, it pushes all the bad stuff out. Everybody should have increase in body tone and flexibility. Everybody should get stronger in their muscles, and the fat should be flushed away. But again, a lot of this has to do with how much you consume. One of the biggest crimes against humanity, I believe, has been perpetrated by the drug companies and the medical association. They make recommendations against health. The biggest one the biggest mistake that was ever recommended that has scared people away from doing what is healthy is to recommend half your body weight in ounces of water. I just explained to you that a 160-pound man is 15 gallons of water. If he's drinking a gallon a day, he's just barely replacing what he's using. If he's doing 2 gallons a day, he can work miracles in his body. If he's doing 80 ounces, that's less than half a gallon. How could he possibly stay healthy? By the medics and the drug companies recommending half your body weight in ounces, they have created the most unhealthy country in the entire world, in the history of the world, and every single person in America needs to be a customer of the drug companies. Now you understand why they recommended that. Don't listen to people that tell you half your body weight in ounces. You need more water. It's the most important thing you can do. Kangen water is the perfect water. I don't recommend pouring in a lot of any other kind of water. People always say, well, I don't have Kangen water yet. What should I do? I don't want to make a comment. Every other kind of water is still chemicals and toxins, and I don't want you to pour a lot in. Just keep doing what you're doing until you do get Kangen water. So I have to go. I have another call to get on, but I wanted to share that, and I will tell you, I am working on some books. I've been working on them for a while. They're very close to being completed, and I promise to get them out very soon. One of them is called They Lied to You About God. They left out the good news. And the other one is called Take a Break from Killing Yourself and Let Your Body Be Healed. I have a website that is, actually I have two websites. One of them's kind of a revamp of my original. It's drbawe.info, and the new one is going to be drbawe.com. Okay? You can have the best health of your life if you focus mostly on your water. The second thing, you need raw fats, raw coconut oil, raw extra virgin olive oil, raw flaxseed oil. If you do nuts and seeds, they must be sprouted and germinated. Olives are great. Try to get raw olives. Try to order things from websites that do ancient techniques and pure techniques. Avocados are great, especially if they're vine ripened. But even if you can't get vine ripened, that's a pretty good source. Again, you need raw fat. Mostly all we get in America is cooked fat. Okay, love you guys. Thanks for letting me share, and I will talk to you next time.
Thank you, Dr. Berry. Appreciate you being on.
My pleasure. Have a good night.
Have a great night. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Well, that was a great way to start our year off, and now we are going to open up the line and have some great testimonies. So, folks, I want you to make sure you got a pen and paper in front of you so that you can put these people's name down. These are actually people on your team, and if you're not here already, there'll be people who are on your team when you get here. So let's get started. I'm going to change positions here, so hold on just a moment. Okay, now our very first person tonight is Paul from Illinois. And Paul, would you come out and say, Jan, can you hear me? I'm waiting for you, Paul. Just go ahead and unmute yourself and just say, Jan, can you hear me? I'm going to come back for you, Paul, so let me go ahead and I'll go to Gary. Gary, are you there from Panama? Say, Jan, can you hear me?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I sure can. Folks, Gary is from the country of Panama. He's a very trusted friend of mine and colleague. He's got a great story, and I guess what I would say about his story is it's never too late to change. So, Gary, come and share this little story with us. Gary, can you hear me? Go ahead. I'm not hearing you, so you'll need to start over. Okay. Now, Gary, I will come back for you, so just hang in there, and I'll come back for you. I'm going to see if I can call on Dan from Michigan. Dan, you go ahead and unmute yourself and share with us, would you please?
Hear me, Dan?
Yes, I can. Dan has a fantastic story, and I'll say this much, he's a pastor from Michigan, and I'll let him tell you his good news. So go ahead, Dan.
Well, I started on the water a couple of years ago, and I had multiple sclerosis. Was diagnosed when I was 26 years old, which was back in 1986. They figured I've had it since I was 17 years old, which would have been 1977. Relapsing, remitting, all the different symptoms, just doing and not doing too bad with it throughout the years. But for a couple of years, I was getting worse and worse, and in fact, actually went into secondary progressive, which is going from relapsing, remitting into progressive. The doctor said nothing more they could do. I'm just going to get worse the rest of my life. And a friend of mine told me about the water and shared it with me. And I thought, okay, I'll drink water. Yeah, that'll make a difference. And anyway, to make a long story short, I started getting better after a couple of weeks. After 4 weeks, I was much better. After 6 weeks, I was doing great. So I got myself a machine, started getting the water fresh all the time, drinking it right out of the machine there. And I started doing great. I was a 1 or a 2 on a scale of 1 to 10, health-wise. I was doing horrible, getting ready to go on disability. I am now a 9 out of 10 pretty much all the time. The only reason I'm not a 10 out of 10 is I'm not 20 anymore. I'm doing great. I've been symptom-free for over a year and a half now. In December of 2015, I went to get MRIs done. In January of 2016, my neurologist, I went to his office where he could read the MRIs. He looked at me and he said, looking at your MRIs and looking at your clinical exam, I don't believe you have any active lesions at all anymore. He said, I believe all that's showing up now in the MRIs is nothing more than scar tissue. In other words, I no longer have multiple sclerosis. And it's not the water that did that. The water just got the body to the point where the body could do what God designed it to do, which was heal itself. And so I'm symptom-free. No disability. I'm doing great. I'm doing wonderful. Anything I want, anytime. Just doing wonderful.
Hey, Dan, I've got to call you out and ask you this. What were some of those symptoms that you were having such a rough time with? Because you said you were down to like on a scale of 1. So what was happening to you when you were on a scale of 1? What was happening?
Fatigue was horrible. Pain was horrible. Balance was horrible. The strength, I was very weak all the time. I had no endurance at all. No energy at all. Lost my vision in my right eye 9 times, my left eye 3 over all the years, but my vision was getting worse even at that point. For those 2 years, I just kept getting worse and worse in all of those symptoms. Balance was bad. I just pretty much every symptom you can name for MS, I was getting it, and it was just getting worse. And started drinking the water, and things started to turn around. But I've just been getting better and better. And now I'm, like I said, symptom-free for over a year and a half now. So running around playing with my granddaughters now, picking them up. I wouldn't have thought about holding them unless I was sitting down before. And now, one's 6 years old, I'll pick her up and run around with her in my arms. Went skipping with my granddaughter the other day. So, my balance is back. I can walk heel to toe across the room. I haven't been able to do that in 20 years.
Wow. All right, so let me ask you this. What were you drinking before you started drinking Kangen water?
You really want to know the answer to that question, huh?
Yep.
I was drinking
what was happening?
Coke, Dr. Pepper, and Mountain Dew.
Okay, how much were you drinking, Dan?
I cut down at one point to about a 2-liter bottle a day.
Wow.
That's what I cut down to.
Okay, I'll say that amount again. It was what?
2-liter bottle a day. A 2-liter bottle a day.
2-liter bottle a day. Wow. I am so glad that somebody that really cared for you shared the water. And I know your wife is, too, because she got her husband back, didn't she?
Right, and that's exactly what she said. After about 6 months, she said, I've got my husband back, because before that, I was turning into a vegetable. I was existing, was not able to live.
Well, Dan, you've been a real testimony tonight, and I know it's going to be a big encouragement to everybody this year. So thanks so much for taking the time out of your schedule.
Yes, ma'am. Thanks for asking me. I love sharing, because anything I can do to help, I want to do.
Okay. Thanks, Dan. Appreciate you.
Yep. Bye now.
All right. Bye-bye. Have a good night. Okay, Gary, I can hear you. Yes. Go right ahead.
All right. It's technology sometimes challenges us a little bit. Okay. Well, we got our machine a couple of years ago, actually November of 2014, and really got it from my wife. I had a few issues, but I didn't really think too much about it. But obviously, if we've got the machine, well, I'm going to drink the water. Well, lo and behold, I discovered there was all kinds of things that I was benefiting from. The big thing was acid reflux. I had suffered with acid reflux for probably well over 30 years. And that cleared up within a week's time. I also had gout that had been with me for many, many years. That cleared up within a couple of weeks' time. I had...
Hey, now, Gary, hold on just a minute, okay? All right. Dan, make sure you're on mute, okay? There we go. I think that'll help. Okay. Go ahead, Gary.
Okay. I also had occasional bouts of constipation. Once we got on the Kingdom water, I've not had any issues with constipation at all. That's a thing of the past. I had cold hands and feet. I'm probably one of the few people that you know of that went to sleep in the summertime with socks on. Did that for years. Since we've been on the Kingdom water, I no longer have cold feet or hands. My circulation improved immensely. I had carpal tunnel syndrome that, again, that was on again, off again, and ever since we've been on the water, no more issues at all. It just it's made a world of difference in my health, my energy. I have extremely good energy now. My muscles are, I would say, every bit as good as they were back when I was in my 50s, and I'm already 76, so I'm very, very pleased with what the water has done for us.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you a couple of questions here, Gary. I heard the word acid reflux, cold hands and feet, and gout, carpal tunnel syndrome, and no energy. And Gary, I remember when I first started talking to you about the water, of course we were talking about it because we wanted to help Elaine. And I said, Gary, do you have anything that's bothering you? And you couldn't think of anything. You actually couldn't think of anything. But I do remember you telling me that for years you sat in a recliner because you had acid reflux and had to sleep that way. Is that right?
That's correct, yes.
Wow.
I can't begin to imagine how much I've spent on all those different medications to try to relieve that, those little purple pills and all the other
And it actually went away, I think, the first week. Is that right?
Within the very first week, yes.
Very first week. Okay, that's after 35 years.
My wife just reminded me of something else that I've struggled with kidney stones for, that's going on about 25, maybe 30 years.
Okay.
But it got where I was having recurring bouts about every 6 to 3 months. And it just, once it was hit, it was just really years, my kidney stones is cleared up. I have not had any more issues.
Okay, so let me jump in here again. And you're talking about kidney stones for like 25 years. As you named off that whole list there, I could actually go back to what Dr. Berry said. So many people are walking around dehydrated, they don't know it, and they have a ton of symptoms. And definitely that was what was happening in your life. Is that right?
There's no question about it. Absolutely.
Okay. I'm going to bring out Elaine. I know she's right there beside you. And Elaine's my special friend. She's got a huge story to tell, but she's going to put it down into 2 minutes. So, Elaine, I know at another time I'm going to bring you out with a long story so that you can share each individual challenge that you went through. But tonight I want you to put it down in 2 minutes. And if you could summarize everything, or if I could even summarize it for you, I would say that you probably have over your heading, you can do it too. Meaning that whoever else is out there hurting, they can do it too. So, Elaine, come and share with us.
I think that's what I have at the end of my paper. Anyway,
I'm reading your mind. Okay, go ahead.
All right. Yeah. You know, it's really my pleasure to be able to tell everybody about some of my life things. I've been using Kangen waters, like Gary says, since November 1st of 2014. I was so excited to try drinking this special water because I just had so many things that were bothering me, and I just didn't know what to do. So I, of course, was told by Jen and another friend how special the electrolyzed ionized water is. So I was somewhat skeptical, but I still hadn't found a cure for any of my excruciating pain. And I held my mind and heart open to what could maybe happen to me. So I was told that the water doesn't heal me, but that it balances my body so it can begin to heal itself with wonderful self-healing ability. So I began drinking the water as instructed and stayed on schedule the best I could. The first thing I noticed was that I had some new energy and actually began to move around and not just sit in my chair all day as I've done years before. I started to gain a renewed interest in taking care of my backyard and my garden. A few more days passed, and I noticed that my constipation was leaving, and I began to go to the bathroom much more frequently without pain. I also began using the 6.0 water on my face and arms, and I suddenly noticed that my skin was bright and nicely moisturized. Some of my wrinkles just disappeared, as did 25 pounds of my body. And people started asking me what I was doing as I was looking better. Well, now my low back pain was less. My skin was glowing. My hair was shining from using the 6.0 water, and my smile returned to my face. For those of you people that don't know me, I was born with deformities. One being that I was born with one good arm and a very short arm with only 4 fingers. I was also born with scoliosis. By the time I was in the 4th grade, I was prohibited from playing sports, as I was growing on my left side and not on my right. I was getting too much exercise, and then that is what was happening to me. And so at school, I was taken out of TV. But my saving grace was a friend that helped me through everything. Anyway, when my first surgery was, I was removing a baseball-sized bone from underneath my arm. And the doctor thought I was going to be paralyzed, and they placed me in a strict program to be exercise program to be done 2-3 times daily with supervision. And I remained in that hospital I was in for about 4 months. And then I remember later I had a finger removed, and that was in junior high school that interrupted my years. And then I met Gary in college, and he became my husband now for 53 years. He's been by my side for the rest of my 32 surgeries. My whole back is huge, and I no longer bend at my waist. 3 discs left in my neck allow me to turn my head. Because of my hip replacement, I no longer reach my ankle and my foot. But somehow, by the grace of God, I was made to go through all of these surgeries and still moving. But because of Kingdom Water, I was no longer sitting in the chair, or I no longer used a wheelchair. And after 2.5 to 3 months, I no longer had excruciating back pain or neck pain. I was back to quilting, gardening, and doing my house chores. I'm in a sewing group, and we get to sew.
Elaine, I'm going to jump in there for just a second here, because and let the people know that you're actually calling in from Panama tonight. The reception isn't as good as sometimes. So let me summarize what you've got there, as I've been writing these down also. Elaine has gone through 32 plus surgeries. She was actually born with severe scoliosis and a deformed arm, and that's why she had all those surgeries. When she got on the water, here's what happened. She had more energy. The constipation disappeared because she used the beauty water. Her face is glowing. Okay. Also, she's lost 25 pounds. Hey, and Elaine, I need you to put yourself on mute because we're echoing. Okay. And I'll finish it up for you. Okay, so then also low back pain because of all those surgeries. And folks, I'm sorry that the satellite wasn't getting all of those words in just right. But here's what I want to summarize for you. Elaine is in her mid-70s. For 71 years, she was in pain. You're never too old to start something new here, to start changing your body around. Elaine was in pain for 71 years, and now because she correctly hydrated herself, she's lost some weight, and all those great things that she was sharing with us tonight, those are hers to keep now. Elaine, thanks for sharing, and I will have you come out another time and share more of your story. But thanks for being there with Gary, and you both are one of my trusted friends, and I appreciate you so much. Okay, now we're going to move on, and we're going to move on to Paul. Paul, were you able to get on? Paul from Illinois? Go ahead and say, Jan, can you hear me? I'm coming off mute there. Okay. John, maybe you can call Paul and three-way him in. I'm going to keep going, but maybe you can call him. Heard something.
Hello,
Paul,
can you hear me?
I can hear you, Paul. I'm so glad you made it. Okay.
Oh, gee, I must have hit the right button. I got a new phone here. I'm trying to figure it out.
Okay. Paul has a tremendous story. He's actually a cancer survivor, and he has a wonderful wife that stood by him with encouragement the whole time. So, Paul, come out and share with us.
Okay. We're living here in Rockford, Illinois. In 2015, I found out that I had cancer. It's like getting hit with a brick. But I said, okay, well, I'm not any better than anybody else, so let's just deal with it. And not knowing a lot about cancer, whatever the doctors tell you to do, you're going to do it because you don't know what else to do. So I started taking chemo, and then I had lymph nodes. Now, I started taking chemo, and then my grandson was here, and I tried to catch him from falling down the stairs. I did, but I fell, and I broke my leg. Then I found out that I had chemo in my right femur, the largest bone in your body. So now I'm taking radiation and chemo. So, and I'm going to make the story shorter because I was in the hospital taking chemo. I had to stay a week, 7 days, round the clock, go home for 2 weeks, come back. And I also was in a nursing home because I couldn't walk with the broken leg. So a lot of things happened at one time. At one point, I think it was 29 to 30 days straight, we were in and out of hospitals every day, sometimes as many as 3 hospitals in one day. I've got 2 ports, one in my chest, one in my head, that they were going to put chemo in my brain so it would run down my spinal column because they thought for sure I'd get it back. I had non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, stage 4, rare form, double hit, large B cell. Man, that's a lot to say. And so I started taking the chemo, and I would sit in my garages in April and in June, and I ran into my neighbor John, who was listening on the phone now, and he started telling me about this water. And I said, well, you know, they gave me only 30% chance of living. So I said, I'm going to change my diet. I'm going to try the water. Now, I knew, not knowing a lot about the cancer other than friends and relatives dying like everybody else, but I always knew I was underhydrated. If I drank 2 glasses and a half of water a day, I would figure that, man, I'm really hitting it. And I never drank the pop or stuff, but I was drinking orange juice and different juices. And if I had a coffee in the morning, well, that's all aesthetic. So I decided, talking with John, and I decided I'd change the water, which I did. And I went on, and I stopped eating sugar, and I did a whole lot of praying. Well, I went back, took a CT, and he told me what to do, my oncologist, and we went back, and it wasn't showing anything in the blood tables. So then I took a PET scan, and it didn't show any come up when they give you the glucose tolerance test, and they watch it on the imaging and the PT. So I went back, and I said, well, I know God is going to heal these lymph nodes. So I said, you give me a sign, so I told my wife, my son, I'm not going to take chemo anymore, but I'm changing my diet. And so we prayed about it. We went back and see the oncologist, and he said, well, what are you going to do? He wasn't upset. We thought it would be, but I was not in a public hospital. I was in a private, Catholic hospital here in Rockford, which was very good. They worked with Mayo Clinic and Rush Hospital in Chicago. They all come to the conclusion what they were telling me. But then I said, well, if I know I'm going to be healed, and I'm telling people that, why am I taking chemo? And they told me I'd have to take 6 series of chemo series or more. And between 4 and 5, I said, well, I quit. Either I'm going to be healed here or I'm going to be healed in heaven. So he wanted to know, my oncologist, he said, well, I'm here to help you. What are you going to do? I said, I'm going to change my diet. I'm going to stop eating sugar, which I've cut out about 95%, and I'm going to start drinking Kangen water. And he said, well, you know, I heard about this water years ago, but you couldn't get it in this country. And I said, well, you can get it now. And he said, well, bring me in the info. So he started watching my test, and he came back and he asked me to bring him in some info. John gave me some information on Kangen water. I gave it to him, and he's passed it out to some of his patients. Would you believe that? And I also asked him if he was to get cancer or a member of his family, because I wanted to hear from his mouth, would you take chemo? And he paused for a long time, which to me is no. And then he said, it all depends. And then later on, reading up about all these things, I find out that over 90% of all doctors won't do it. In McGill University in Montreal, where it's all oncologist training, 99 out of 100 said they would never take chemo. So I said, well, I'm going to quit the chemo, change my diet, and he was for it. And that's what we've done. And I've been drinking the Kangen water every day of my life, and I know I've always been underhydrated, and I'll always drink Kangen water forever. And I know you have to do that. And I'm eliminating acidity and sugar, and I'm drinking the water, and so is my wife. And 3 weeks ago, we were back to the oncologist. He said, well, you don't have to come back for 6 months. All your numbers, everything is good. So just stay away for 6 months this time. We said, okay, and thank you, Lord. And we're just drinking the cans of water and cutting back on sugar. So that's all I can say.
That's a great story. Okay, now let me clarify a couple things here, Paul. Okay, when you did find out that you had the cancer, you were going through the chemo and all that stuff, and then your friend John came and helped you with the water. That's when you started drinking the water, right?
Right. That's when I started.
Okay. And you decided you're going to drink it the rest of your life. Is that right?
Yes. I've always known that an American diet, we're all have a acidic diet. Our bodies, it's just, if you drink water, it's acid water, acid rain, and it's just like the chiropractor said before, and that's just the way it is. But I know the water is good, and I'm not trying to say, I'm just telling you that's what I'll drink to the day I die.
Okay. Paul, you're a very special person, and you have a wonderful wife that stuck with you the whole time. And you know what? She made sure that you did what you were supposed to do, and that was drink the water. So thanks very much for sharing. I really appreciate you taking the time tonight.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay. Bye-bye. Go ahead and mute up, and you can hear the rest of our stories, okay? Thanks very much now. All right, bye-bye. Okay, we got another testimony coming up, and it's actually Kathy from New York. And so, Kathy, would you come on mute? Just say, Jan, can you hear me? Jan, can you hear me? Yes, I can hear you real well. Okay. Folks, Kathy's a team leader, and she's actually brought aboard some very remarkable people, and they have great success stories. It's because of her heart, wanting to help people around her, that these people have been helped. And she's got a very short, sweet story. I'll have her tell her story, and then I'll have her bring out one of her friends. So, Kathy, go ahead.
Thank you, Jan, so much. Thanks for having this call. I just want to say thank you to everybody on this call. I'm amazed and so grateful that you're all on. My story is the reason why this water has given me back my life is because of my energy. I was a hairdresser, and I'm retiring that now, but I would come home and have dinner, and I would be in bed. I had no life after work. So when I got on the water about 8 years ago, after a week, I became so extremely thirsty that it was scary thirsty. I called up my sponsor, and I said, why am I so thirsty? And he said, that's how dehydrated you are. Just keep on drinking and it will balance out, I promise you. And it did. About a week after that, I noticed I wasn't in bed by 7 o'clock. And just like a week later, I was like up till 10 o'clock, and now I can be up as late as I want. And it's wonderful. It's wonderful to have your life back. And I'm just so thankful for this company, the integrity of this company, and the people that support you. I am just 100% on board and 100% working Kangen water for the rest of my life because I just want people healthy. And thank you so much, Jan. Thanks for letting me be on.
You're so welcome, and thank you for taking time out of your schedule. I appreciate you.
Sure.
Okay, you know what? I am actually going to bring out one of Kathy's friends, and her name is Liz. Liz, are you on the call with us tonight? Would you come out and share? Say, Jan, can you hear me? We're going to wait for Liz.
Hear me?
Yes, I can. Hi, Liz.
Oh, great. Hi.
Okay. Well, we'd love to have you share your story with us tonight, and you are part of Kathy's team. Kathy has a great heart, and I'm glad she shared it with her friends. So go ahead.
Absolutely. We are grateful. Yes, we've had our condom machine about 2 years, a little over that, and I've had 2 total hip replacements. The first was in 2009, and the second one I had about 6 months after we started drinking Kangen water. and I had a very quick recovery. My husband brought me the water at the hospital at the rehab center where I stayed for about 2 weeks. The first thing that was noticed was the nurses were really surprised because my oxygen blood level was at 100%. Their eyes kind of popped out when they saw that. I moved faster around the rehab center than most people. I took care of myself faster than most. And I also surprised some people 4 days after the surgery. And I attended a meeting with Stu Sweeney, California, and giving a talk about common water. I walked down 20 steps at the church and then back up again, with a little help with my husband on my side to prevent me from falling. Their elevator was out of commission, so I said, well, I'm doing it anyway. So I did. Stayed there about 5 hours that day. This was 4 days after surgery. After about 2 weeks, the doctor checked the 6-inch incision and was also surprised to see that it was nearly healed up. I left the rehab center with a cane instead of the normal walker that most people left with. Then by the 3rd week, I retired the cane. As it was told earlier on this call, I mentioned acid reflux. And I also was diagnosed with that. And after deciding not to take the medicine, the acid reflux disappeared. Then one other thing has happened to me, and that is that my skin and my hair has improved. So much people tell me that I look in my 50s instead of the 70 years that God has blessed me with. And my husband and I both are so grateful to have been introduced to common water. It's totally changed how we feel. It's given us more energy. Our lives have been changed totally by it, and I hope that anybody who hears this call will seriously consider trying to get a machine and drink the water. It's so worth it.
Liz, thank you so much for sharing tonight. You know, it's getting late back where you are, and I appreciate you taking time out of your schedule tonight. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Have a good night now.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Okay, folks, I've got another young gentleman here, and this is Wells. Wells, would you say, Mom, can you hear me? Okay, so I'm going to come back for Wells and Ginger. I'm going to have you come out and share with us right now. Ginger's our daughter from Oklahoma City. Ginger, are you right there?
I'm right here.
Okay, great.
Can you hear me?
I sure can. Go ahead and share with us tonight.
Okay, so I was diagnosed with Graves' disease in 2012, and the doctors put me on a medicine that caused me to have a severe allergic reaction to it. And it damaged part of my liver, and I had severe itching from head to toe for 10 weeks. And the only option the endocrinologist gave me was to either have surgery to completely remove my thyroid or have it iodine radiated to kill my thyroid off and be on medicine the rest of my life. And I actually went to 2 other endocrinologists to seek another opinion, but they both told me the same thing. And I wanted to keep my thyroid, and I knew that there had to be another way. So I decided I would just try to eat healthier, and I went to a naturopathologist who put me on lots of vitamins, and he took me off gluten, and I tried that for 7 months. And my numbers were slowly dropping, but I still didn't feel great, and I was experiencing like jitters and anxiety and irritability, and my heart was racing really fast and having heart palpitations. And I just had zero energy. I felt like I was missing out on my 3 kids' lives, and I was just desperate. I decided to go ahead and give the Kangen water a try. Even though I drink water all the time anyways, I decided, I'll just try this out and see what it does. And so I started drinking the gallon of water a day with a teaspoon of salt, just like I was instructed to. And just after 1 month of drinking the Kangen water, my numbers had significantly dropped, and I started feeling better. and my jitters and my heart palpitations went away, and the anxiety and irritability was rarely noticeable. And I felt like I was living again for the first time in 2 years, because that was going on for 2 years. And I went back to get my blood work done after 4 months, and the doctor called me and said everything looked great. I was completely shocked and amazed, because I knew I had been feeling better, but I just couldn't believe that my thyroid numbers were back to normal, and that I had almost considered getting my thyroid removed. So I am so completely blessed that my mom shared the Kangen water machine with me, and that I was open to giving it a try. And it literally changed my life. On top of that, I also have experienced the beauty water side of it, where my face I used to struggle with acne, and now my face is clear, and also I have really curly hair, and I use the beauty water on my hair, and it makes it really nice and shiny and not frizzy. So I really love the beauty water side of it as well.
Thank you, Ginger. I appreciate you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay. You have a great night, honey.
Thank you. You guys too. All right. Bye.
Okay. Folks, it is really great to be able to have your own kids on the water and see great changes in their life. I'm going to try Wells one more time. Wells, are you out there? Just say, Mom, can you hear me? I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up then with our last lady. This is going to be Carrie from Texas. And Carrie's a very special lady. I know that you'll enjoy her story. Carrie, are you with me?
And can you hear me?
Yes, I sure can. I'm excited to have you on the call, Carrie. Okay.
Thank you. Well, oh my gosh, following up on all of those stories, that's just incredible. And I think his name was Gary, one of the earlier stories, and almost made me cry with MS. Oh my goodness gracious. Well, my name is Carrie Freund, and I'm in the Hurst, Texas area, Dallas-Fort Worth area, and Jan asked me to share. I've got so many stories I could probably take up the whole hour call, but she just asked me to narrow it down to my brain health story. And when I was in my early 40s, I started having, I'd always struggled ever since I could remember with really bad brain fog. I struggled in school. I didn't think, I did okay, but I would have to read things over and over and over to comprehend, and I think I struggled with some ADD. I was always thinking, lost in La La Land, thinking about something else, and just couldn't remember things well. And so, but then in my early 40s, I had started having some pretty serious depression issues, and in fact, it was I was starting to have thoughts that were so scary that I didn't want to tell my family, but I had decided that I needed to get some psychiatric help. I didn't need a counselor. I didn't need a therapist. I needed medication. And so my brother-in-law, Lou, is the one that told us about the water back in 2006, I believe it was. I didn't believe any of it. My mom, I grew up the only child of a chronically ill single mother who tried every naturopathic and health and wellness thing under the sun, and nothing ever worked. And so I just didn't believe any of it. But anyway, we ended up with a machine because my husband did believe in it, and started drinking the water. And my brain fog completely disappeared, went away. And I never, ever again thought about seeking psychiatric help or medication. It just completely, it all just completely vanished for me. And now I wake up and life is awesome and amazing, and God is so good to us. And it's just nice to have a different perspective on life. So that ought to do it for me, huh, Jan?
That's a great story, Terry. Thank you so much. I always love to hear you. You've got such an exciting voice, and thank you for being a team leader out there. I appreciate you so much.
You're welcome. Appreciate you too, honey.
Okay, you have a great night now. Bye-bye. Okay. Stu, are you right there with me? Folks, that was really a great call tonight. I'm so excited to be able to bring those stories to you tonight from the team members. And next week, we'll be right back here on this line. And next week, our call is going to be on the competition. We'd love to have you come back with your notepad. And you have a great week this week. It's going to be cool some places. So snuggle up, drink your water, and have a healthy week. We'll see you back here next week. Bye-bye now.